Hey, I'm Nim Sharon, a student at the University of Illinois in Champaign, Urbana. I hope to share with you the people we have met that don't let the feeling of terror disrupt their daily lives.
Shalom, my name is Foster Lewin, and I am studying engineering and biology at University of Illinois. Before I make Aliyah, I want to share with as many people as possible the incredible beauty of Israel.
Hello, my name is Josh Sandler, and I am a junior studying engineering at the University of Illinois. I want to show people in America what life is like in Israel from a point of view different than what is seen on the media.
Hello, I'm Alan Potash, Hillel Director at the University of Illinois. Most of us who have experienced Israel know that it is a country filled with wonderful people with amazing sights. Knowing the image of Israel we see on television is not the real Israel, and with a declining number of students visiting Israel on birthright and other trips, I wanted to create a video showing Israel through the eyes of students. I had two goals in mind: to show normal life in Israel, and have U of I students make connections with the University of Illinois alumni living in Israel. And here's our journey.
You should not be influenced in any way about what you see on the media about Israel. The media automatically exaggerate everything totally out of proportion.
Israel has difficulty getting its message across for a number of different reasons. It's the love of the underdog, which is the Palestinians. It's the fact that all the cameramen floating around in the Palestinian areas today are Palestinians. Israelis can't go there. Israelis can't report it. Israelis cannot report on what's going on in the Palestinian territories. The CNN, they're employing Palestinian cameramen, not Israeli cameramen, and that reflects. That's going to color what they're going to cover, right? I mean, obviously, there's certain institutional problems that make it difficult for Israel to get a fair shake in the media. I think there's a tendency among American Jews to kind of overestimate the importance of the media. But, the media, granted, is extremely important, but if you look at the support that Israel has in the administration, and in the Congress, and in the polls, right, it's pretty strong. And it's stronger than the representation of Israel in the media would lead one to believe.
Well, the first thing I would say to anyone outside of Israel who thinks he or she knows Israel a little bit from the media, I would say forget it. You don't know anything about Israel from the media, because the media distorts and the media lies, and it's I'll just tell you a very short little story. My parents were visiting here about 3 months ago, and I brought them to Jerusalem one day. We were in the car on the way to Jerusalem, and there was fairly heavy traffic, as there usually is on the road up to Jerusalem. And my father remarked, he said, too bad I don't have my camera with me right now, he said, because I would just take a picture of all these cars on the road, people just traveling in the morning, going about their everyday business. Because you can get the impression, sitting in the U.S., from the television, you can get the impression that people in Israel are sitting in their houses afraid to step out because there are gunshots flying everywhere or bombs going on. So, first of all, I have to tell you that even though that is a major problem, it doesn't really hamper our day-to-day lives.
How could we ever have not lived here?
This is Kol Yisrael, the voice of Israel, broadcasting from Jerusalem. This is Linda Epstein with the news. I said, look, I'm looking for work. And after about 10 minutes, he said, you've got this great voice. Would you do broadcasting? And I said, sure, I'm willing to try. What do I know? Took me to a studio, gave me something to read, tried it, and I was accepted. 10 days later, I was on the air. Radio in this country has a very special place for the population. And while TV has a role, radio in this country is really the one thing that everybody listens to. Everybody listens to radio here.
Well, in Israel, you feel that everything is part of you. It's your country. What you do helps the country, your family, your children, your society. And this is a very strong conviction.
So I said, okay, I'm going to utilize that. I'm going to spend a year. I'm going to look for a job. I'm not going to leave before a year's up. I will not leave. I don't care if I have to, have 3 different jobs, waiting tables at 3 different restaurants, working at the bagel shop, babysitting, cleaning floors. I don't care. I will not leave until the year is up. I know that it's hard here, but I'm going to give it a year. And during that year, I was very, very lucky, and I found a job that was in my field that helped me learn and make contacts and really see that I would be able to succeed here professionally. And meanwhile, socially, I also settled in and I became familiar with the neighborhood and the language. My language skills improved. So I really found a lot during that year.
When I went to the University of Illinois from England, I had basically had 2 dreams in life. One of them was I wanted to go and settle in Israel, and the other was I wanted to be a theoretical physicist. Something strange changed my life 2 weeks after I arrived in Israel in 1973. And that was the Yom Kippur War. And all of a sudden, I found myself, this is the first day of the rest of your life. You're a theoretical physicist, here you are in Israel. You're going to remain a philosopher for the rest of your life, or you're going to do something. There's an oil crisis.
In '67, I received a letter from someone in Beersheba at the what was it called, the Negev Institute. There was no university then. And he asked me to come over and get them started in reverse osmosis. So I came over there and worked in the Negev Institute. And in I stayed there till about 1970. And in that time, we taught them everything about it.
Motorola is multinational. So there's Motorola in Poland, there's Motorola in Ireland, there's Motorola in China and Malaysia and all these other places. But I think what our Israeli unique contribution to Motorola is problem solving. Because we don't take no for an answer. They give us a problem, they say fix it in 3 days. Everybody else says no way. We fix it in 3 days. We don't follow the rules, but we fix it in 3 days. And they're all these guys who you would never think could have a conference call with some guy in Chicago are. I mean, they are team players. They're using their experience from the Army or wherever else they got it to solve problems. When the UPS man comes to the door, he's got that little LCD thing out. That Motorola Israel created that. Okay. So that's amazing.
The truth is that I had a very good life here as a singer. I did major roles where all the people that played with me were almost always brought in from abroad. And I did a lot of roles with the New Israel Opera, and during the first 10 years that the opera was being established, before the building was built. I always felt that if I had stayed in the United States, I would have become a professional Jew. And by coming to Israel, it kind of freed me from that, and I was able to become a professional musician, singer.
So in our case, we represent 9 U.S. states here, 8 officially, and with Illinois, we're consultants to the Illinois Trade Office in Chicago. In that respect, what we do is we provide services to companies there to find distributors and representatives here. And when I say here, this is our headquarters. We have an office in Istanbul in Turkey. We have an office in Lagos in Nigeria. And we also have an office in Amman in Jordan. And we cover the entire region. We cover everything from Turkey to the UAE, and we have this new initiative this year in Nigeria as well. It's a $100 billion economy. People buy a lot of stuff when it's an economy that large. And the Israelis don't stop buying, even in spite of the situation. So we did a deal with a Saudi company looking for organic honey. And we had a company in Georgia that manufactures organic honey. And Lynn actually did the work. And I said to her, is there any discomfort? You're Jewish, you're a woman, you're in Israel. She said, sure, we care less. Also, remember, they don't really do business with us. In other words, they're not buying from us, and they're not selling to us, they're not paying us. We're matchmakers. We just did a deal about a month and a half ago with a Saudi company. It was very interesting to do because they can't call us. If you're in Saudi Arabia and you dial 972, you get a busy signal. But we can call them. So we operate in Saudi Arabia, and we operate. In Jordan we actually go to, and we're members, of the Jordanian American Business Association. I had a visa, I had a Jordanian visa in my passport. It was easy. Today it's more cumbersome. So getting to Jordan is now almost a whole day process.
My name is Tal Brody. I'm originally from Trenton, New Jersey. After we won the state championship at Trenton Central High, within about the 40 scholarships that I were offered, I took the scholarship at the University of Illinois when Huff Gymnasium was the gymnasium, but they did say that they're building an assembly hall, which was a great attraction. You can imagine leaving the assembly hall with such great conditions and coming and practicing my first practice in Israel on an outdoor court with not wood, like asphalt or tile. Instead of a leather ball, using a rubber ball that is lopsided. And when you shoot, you have to judge your shot according to the wind, because it's an outdoor court. Now, when the league started, we would play up a kibbutz in the north, and sometimes we would have a windstorm, so the dust would get into your eyes. So when you're shooting, or in other places, sometimes we would get rained out. And whoever think I used to write to the States, and they say, "Hey, we got rained out last week," and they write me back, "What? Rained out? Well, did the roof have a leak in it or something?" Or what? I'd say, like after my first 2 years in Israel, it was the time of Vietnam, and I was called up to the United States Army. So I went back to the United States. And I went into the U.S. to the Army, and after 1970, after I finished the U.S. Army, I came back to Israel as an immigrant and continued on. I remember receiving a card from Moshe Dayan, the defense minister at that time, and he said, "Tal, you're finishing the Army. We hope that you're going to be coming back to Israel and continuing the work that you started." And it also impressed me that people really say, "Hey, Tal, we need you." And I decided to do it. I said, you know what? I'm going to go back to Israel. Israel's a country you're allowed dual citizenship. So I attained Israeli citizenship, and I have my American citizenship. That time when I came, our main basketball stadium was open. Because of our success, they closed it and added on another 5,000 seats and made it a 10,000-seat stadium, a beautiful stadium, like the Fighting Illini, the Assembly Hall. As far as the diversity of our basketball programs here, well, our basketball teams, you have every combination available. Let's say on our team, Maccabi Tel Aviv, we have players from the States. We got a player from Turkey, that he's our center, Hussein Bashuk. We have a player from Slovenia. He's our point guard. All the players that are coming to Israel, after they're here for a year, they all want to stay. It's unbelievable. They love playing here. They love their social life here, and they love being here. We have a lot of groups coming for Birthright, coming to Israel for the first time, and they just love it. It's they go back with such a great impression of the country, and it's the same. I can understand it because it's the same thing which I felt when I first came to the Maccabean Games to play in the Maccabean Olympic Games. And it was my really basic introduction in Israel.
I feel that I had a wonderful welcoming in this country.
I came before the '67 war, and then when the war broke out, the director of the UNESCO effort in Israel called up and said he was rounding up everybody in UNESCO to come to Tel Aviv so he could make a sudden exit if necessary. And I said I wouldn't go, and I didn't. And the reason I didn't go was, I don't know what you call patriotism, but also I guess I didn't want to have to explain to the Israelis why I would leave and come back. I think I would lose much of their confidence in me, let's say, whatever. So I stayed, and lucky I did. It was a 6-day war, no problem.
If you would have known me as a child or a younger person, I would have been the last candidate to end up here in Israel. I wasn't connected with Judaism. I grew up in an area where there weren't any Jews, and I just had no connection to Israel or to Judaism itself. And I remember the first time I got here, I was in Beersheba, and I got on a bus, and I looked at everybody on the bus, and I just thought to myself, my God, everybody here is Jewish. It was really mind-boggling for me, because it was just something that I'd never experienced before. Israel really changes a person.
And again, if we go back to '67, you probably don't remember, but you can read about it. The pride that victory, overwhelming victory, presented or meant to the Jewish people in America and all over the world. There were rallies that were not repeated. I remember it. I remember it very clearly. So the pride and also the association with the state changed completely after '67. And that probably manifests the importance of Israel to the Jewish people.
My parents are Jews who fled, are survivors of the Holocaust. They came here. I was born in Israel, and I was raised as a proud Israeli, proud in the sense that, they were able to give birth to a child here rather than in Europe. It doesn't start with me. It starts with my parents in the sense that I feel I'm a sort of a ring in a chain. There is no other place. I mean, in a real technical, physical, emotional sense. I knew that there is no other country for me.
At some point, we decided we're staying. But I think a few weeks before that, actually, we'd gone to, there's an institution here called AACI, which is the Association of Americans and Canadians in Israel, and just kind of going through some basic questions that one would go through when they're starting to think of some of the more substantive things that you need to think about when you're going to be staying here long term. Things about having to do with, language and jobs and schools. And and places to live, things like this. And he just happened to mention us about a new program that had started called Nefesh B'Nefesh, as we believe that the way to counter the problem of loss of Jewish life here is to bring more Jewish lives. That's one very important way to do that. Now that we're here, already we've added another Jew living in Israel.
You're making a difference, right?
A lot of the problems that you face on a place like U of I is that there's just an information problem. People grew up without enough information. They weren't exposed to the right things. The system's not so great. It's very scattered. One person will hear about a program through some paper. Maybe they had a family member who once knew of someone who came to Israel, liked it, has a distant cousin, maybe they can meet up, and that person maybe comes over here, maybe has an experience that changes their life. And I think that every Jew, deep down inside of them, has something that draws them to this place, whether they know it or not, whether they recognize it or not, whether they try to hide it. It's the challenge of this being the only place in the world where a Jew can call their home.
Someone came to our door to sell us something, and we didn't have enough money, so he said, anyway, take it, and next week you'll give me the money. No one that wouldn't happen in America. So, he has no idea our names, we have no idea, he knows where we live, but he gave us something without us paying for it. And just, it's this trust thing.
I'm 16 years old and I live here for 16 years. I like this land and I'm not afraid from nothing. I know that the situation in my land is very bad, but this is mine. This is my country. This is mine, Israel. I have a lot of friends, and they was in a bomb situation and it was scary, but I will not leave Israel just because of that. My father and my grandfather, they wish for this land. And when they came here, it was so important to them that their children will live here. I know that we have a lot of problems, but I'm proud in every minute that I live here. I will not leave this country, never and ever. And I hope that someday all the Jewish in the world will be here, because this is our land. No one can take us.
You think, what does it mean to be Israeli? You see it all around you. There's energy in this country because there's a constant struggle for it from the outside and from the inside, from religious and from non-religious. It's just an ongoing reevaluation of who we are. And there's not a one single answer, actually, because everybody comes from a different background. Yet we all have to live with each other.
When you come to Israel, you have a feeling that, hey, I belong here.
A lot of Jewish youth in America who have not come in the last 2 years because of the danger, but I think the danger is greater not to come. There isn't anywhere else in the world that being Jewish is like it is being Jewish here.
Belonging here means something, and this is my country. This is my home. This is where I belong. This is where I was born.
It's a small country. You can do everything.
We're all one people, one family, and this is our country. Something we have to look after it. It's our house.
Come see for yourselves. As a media person, I can tell you that A, you never see everything. B, there's always what to learn. Always what to learn. The only way that you can learn about it in a way that keeps you intellectually honest is to come here and learn for yourself.
Seriously, just come here. I mean, living here now for 4 years, I can go on about all the things that are wrong with the country and all the things that are scary about it. But I can give you a list that's just as long about all the things that are right with the country and all the things that make it unlike any other place in the world. But the bottom line is, there is no other Jewish country. This is it. This is what we've got. And you can send money and you can plant trees, but the only way to fix the problems and the only way to really give this place hope for the future and hope for peace is to be here. Because there's no substitute for just people's presence, you know. Being here is an act of defiance and it's an act of charity. And the only thing you can do is just come and stay and stick it out.
Oh, take them the shot.